perimeter, so LAP is actively involved. You know that there were hundreds of protesters on the freeway and thousands on the freeway. So there is a joint collaboration going with the CHP, the LAPD, and then frankly the National Guard. But you also know that the National Guard is deployed to protect federal property. So there is a National Guard troops in Westwood at the federal building and also here downtown.
Next question, and Chase.
Mayor Bass, have you reached out directly to the federal government, or is this you doing so right now with the media here? Have you tried to reach out?
No, my disappointment is I've been talking to the federal government for days. I was hoping to prevent this situation from happening. I was trying to encourage the administration that if they deployed the National Guard in Los Angeles, it would create a sense of chaos. It's the last thing our city needs. Our city is still trying to recover from the wildfires. And you just think about how so many people were impacted by that, and that's an example of where the administration was helpful. And to go from that situation to where we are now is just really tragic, and I think it's so unfortunate. It's the last thing Los Angeles needs.
When you say you've reached out to the federal government, have you reached to President Trump?
No, I did not reach out to President Trump directly. I spoke to his chief of staff. I talked to Tom Homan. I talked to the U.S. Attorney. So I've talked to several members of the administration.
Next question, Matthew.
Yeah, I know you've been watching these protests. First off, what do you see when you're watching this? And I know that you've mentioned being worried about the safety of the protesters, but are you also worried about members of law enforcement in the middle of this?
Well, I'm worried about everybody. I'm worried about members of law enforcement. I'm worried about the safety of the people who are peacefully protesting. I'm worried about the businesses that might get vandalized. I'm worried about the vandalism that took place around the federal building. All of that. We do not need to see our city torn apart. And the idea that the federal government that should be assisting us is a contributing factor, I think is very tragic. When I see the protesters, I know that so many people are affected by this. Their families are affected by this. People are terrified.
How do you think that vandalism impacts the overall message of the protest?
Well, I mean, I first of all, I think protests need to be peaceful, period. And anytime it deteriorates into violence, that is a problem, and it absolutely messes with the overall message.
Next question right here in white.
Yeah, hi Mayor. George with Reuters. My question is, can you share a little bit about the conversations you've had with the governor, and how long you expect for the National Guard to actually be in Los Angeles?
You know what? Thanks for asking me that, because we're hearing all of sorts of information. We're hearing that raids could continue. We're hearing that the National Guard is going to be here, so it's uncertain. But that's exactly the problem. Because we don't need in this city to go to sleep tonight and wake up in the morning and find out about people running through Home Depot parking lots being chased by ICE officers, or people going to work, or children at school. So we don't need any of that in our city right now. Our city is trying to heal. Our city is trying to rebuild. Our city does not need to be torn apart with a provocative measure from the federal government.
We're going to go right here, and then we'll go right here.
So, Mayor, the reality is people seem to still be getting violent. How do you plan to deal with that as we move forward?
If people get violent, if people break the law, they will be subject to arrest and they will be held accountable. It's as simple as that. So peaceful protest is what is needed. Peaceful protest is a part of our American tradition.
Right here.
Mayor, last night the U.S. Attorney seemed resolute that these raids would continue regardless of what's happened over the last 2 or 3 days. In your conversations with him, has there been any kind of attempted compromise or somehow lowering the temperature, at least till things cool off locally if they want to continue, or are they just doing it regardless of how everyone else feels?
Well, I mean, I think what we see now is they're doing it regardless of how anyone else feels. My conversation with the U.S. Attorney, though, was not focused on that.
We're going to go Frank.
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, hi, Frank.
It appears that the LAPD is cooperating with ICE in this operation outside the Metropolitan Detention Center. They moved in, there was a peaceful protest. The LAPD moved the people back using flashbang and less than lethal munitions. Comment on that, because
Sure.
the LAPD is not supposed to be cooperating with ICE.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm not sure that LAPD was involved with the flashbangs. But anyway, let me just say that what happened there is that when one branch of law enforcement says they need help, another branch of law enforcement is going to respond and is obligated to respond. And so the minute that protest left the federal building, then that's when LAPD were involved. So the cooperation that you're referring to, I believe, is the cooperation around coordinating with ICE in terms of raiding workplaces or arresting people who are undocumented.
We're here in the break.
Hi, what's your exact understanding of the timeline for how long the National Guard's going to be here? How long the raids are going to continue? Are there going to be daily raids for?
I have no exact timeline. I cannot tell you that. That's part of the problem, right? We do not know. I have heard a variety of days and weeks. I certainly hope that this is over. The last thing this city needs is civil unrest, and the last thing this city needs is civil unrest that's provoked.
Quick follow-up. So I've seen LAPD fire point blank foam bullets, rubber bullets into the ground, but in some cases directly at protesters. Can you speak about what kind of orders are under in terms of handling peaceful protesters?
I can't in terms of the specific orders that are being given by the chief or the other commanding officers.
So, Mayor, will you be speaking then to Chief McDonald? Or
I'm going to
anyone
speak to him
else?
the next few minutes.
Okay, great. And
Yes,
so
I'm
what is
leaving
then the
from here
plan-
to meet with him.
Great. What is then the plan for tomorrow? Because let's say presumably this does not end.
Right. Well, you know, I think one thing is that because our city has always had a very robust immigrant rights movement and infrastructure and institutions that have been around for several decades, there is a history of having peaceful protests here. Now, you know, like any crowd, if we're talking about after an athletic event, everybody celebrates. There's always a handful of people that tend to be at the end and tend to hang around and might get into mischief and violence. But that's not the people who are putting on the protests. I tell you that to say that when those protests have been organized, they've been organized in a proper way. The problem is what happens at the end, and that's one thing that is difficult with crowd control, whether it is a political protest or whether it is a football game.
Did you say you talked to Tom Holman?
Yes, I did talk to Tom Holman.
What did he tell you?
Well, he just listened. I mean, the main thing he said was he appreciated that there was a call for no violence. I'm not exactly sure what was expected, but, you know, I was encouraging him not to deploy the National Guard. I knew that the order had been given. The president had signed the order to the governor that he was federalizing the National Guard, that 2,000 troops were going to be deployed, but that didn't mean that they would actually be deployed onto our streets. So my conversation with him was trying to encourage to prevent the deployment. Obviously, that did not work.
And
So
so
Mayor,
just to be
just
clear,
so
are you
everyone-
having
Mayor's
are you
gonna
meeting
go-
with the police chief and anybody else, or just the police chief?
The police chief, the sheriff, and the governor.
Quickly,
Mayor,
Mayor,
Mayor's
because about peaceful protests, we're hearing the noises outside as this crowd is getting closer and presumably more violent as they're coming up through the streets here. I know it's nice to talk about peaceful protests. but
That's
seriously-
not peaceful, what was happening. It's not peaceful for people to be on the highways. It's not peaceful for people to throw rocks or bottles. That's not peaceful.
So then how do we reconcile the difference? Obviously, there's frustration with the Trump administration and the feds, but as LAPD and the Sheriff's Department try to distance themselves from the actions of these immigration, actions and work being done, they're against authority in a lot of ways. They're standing outside City Hall,
yeah.
which is your office. It's not necessarily against you. How do you distance yourself, but also kind of try to keep it peaceful at a time where it's anti-authority?
Well, and let me just tell you that I don't think there's any equivocating on nonviolence. And if you are going to entertain violence, if you are going to try to take over a freeway, then you are going to suffer the consequences of doing that. I don't think that LAPD, the sheriff, and certainly not myself, are not shying away from statements like that.
Mayor,
Any
you want to
details about
provide
what the
some
National Guard
conclusion?
mission's going to be?
I'm sorry?
Any details about what the National Guard mission's going to be within LA, where they're going to be deployed?
Well, all what I know right now is that the mission of the National Guard is to protect federal property and the federal building, which is why you have only seen them there. You have not seen them out in the community or anything like that. And just in terms of, to close, to wrap up, I just have to say that, again, our city has been through a lot since the beginning of the year. And now thinking that there is a large percentage of our city that is terrified, that is not going to know if they go to sleep tonight and they go to work or they go to school, will that be the last day they do that? Will that be the last day they see their family? We can't have this in our city. Los Angeles is a city of immigrants where 50% of the population is Latino. percentage of the populations are from Asian countries and from all over the world, and we embrace all Angelenos. It doesn't matter where you came from or when you got here. But the most important thing right now is that our city be peaceful. And so protests and expressing your, fears, your beliefs is appropriate to do, but it is just not appropriate for there to be violence. And I don't want people to fall into the chaos that I believe is being created by the administration completely unnecessarily. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everybody.
This is an SHR special. Escape from LA. Don't let them fool you. And don't let them gaslight you. This is not peaceful. Nowhere near it. Just because they show you some videos of some people, as we're looking at this video, and it's showing vandalism, cars damaged, and they call it peaceful. In the back, you can see the smoke as cars are burning because it's peaceful. Mayor Bass came out there and tried to pass the blame. Who's the one that's been fueling this? The Democrat leaders. We've heard Schumer. We've heard Hakeem Jeffries stoking the flames of hate and lawlessness. I watched last night as Democrats posted after post after post after post. This is peaceful. We don't need the National Guards. Nothing's going on. As I watched rioters loot a convenience store while police stood there, not doing a damn thing, as people were firing fireworks at a police helicopter. I know some might not think that there's nothing wrong with that. That could crash that helicopter very easy. But it was peaceful. All right, John. You can see the smoke in the distance. The Democrats are gaslighting like they are mobile gas station, I guess. It is unbelievable because it's. Here you go. As he drove his motorcycle straight at law enforcement. And the cops are supposed to sit there and take it. That could have seriously hurt or killed several officers. But the Democrats, they are A-okay with it. Wait a minute. Oh, I cut it off way too soon. Knock it up. Let's throw that back up there. So you saw the one motorcycle. Take two. Hey, Adam, is this peaceful? Hey, Dad, is this peaceful? No, it's not peaceful. It's unbelievable. The lawlessness that is going on in the Democrat Party is unbelievable. I've had discussions on X today where people are trying to prove a point saying, well, the immigrants are putting in billions of dollars into Social Security. How the fuck are illegal immigrants putting into Social Security? Stolen identities. Oh, it's okay. They're not taking out loans. They are okay with lawlessness. They're okay with identity theft. They're okay with breaking federal laws time and time again. They're okay with rioting, looting, attacking law enforcement officers. This is the same group that freaked the fuck out on January 6th. Then they don't want Trump calling in National Guard. Well, the last time Trump listened to a California Democrat about not sending in the National Guard, they tried and they impeached him for it. Nancy Pelosi turned down 10,000 National Guards for January 6th. Look at that. Look at the fire behind. Look at that fire. But it's peaceful. That's a different fire than the one they've been showing in the distance. This is what the Democrats have been fueling. And this is what people are getting tired of. Then the Democrats wonder, why are they at 19%? Why are they at 19%? I wonder why. Because Americans are tired of this.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
I'm hunting around different feeds. See what we can find. It's hard showing feeds because you got to watch copyright on some of the stuff and how long you can show it. Because I believe in law and order, and that those that are breaking the law should be held accountable. I was called a Nazi today, which is par for course for Democrats. But what I found funny is I turned around and I said, guess I'm a shitty goddamn Nazi. I married into a Jewish family. And I got, well, then you're just a shitty American. I'm a shitty American because I'm not backing lawlessness, rioting, obstructing law enforcement, attacking law enforcement, setting things on fires, robbing stores, stolen identities. Yeah, that makes me a bad American for being against that. Oh, the stupidity. I just, it's unbelievable. Blocking highways. That's another one that gets me. I don't understand. You're going to get people on your side by blocking them, not letting them live their lives. You're blocking them, and there's been documented case where people have been trying to get to hospitals and do emergencies, and they've been blocked by these protests. They've endangered lives. They endangered lives of the cops, the people that are driving. The Democrats approve of it. They empower these people. They encourage them. But they're going to blame Trump for wanting to send in the National Guard to squash the violence, to help federal law enforcement from being obstructed and assaulted. That's what the Democrats are fighting against. They are fighting for illegal immigrants. They are fighting for people to break the law. They are fighting for criminals. And you sit there and I'm watching these videos, and you got a bunch of idiots. And yes, I'm calling you idiots that are out there protesting deportation, being sent back to your home country. And what are they doing? They're waving foreign flags. That tells me you don't give a shit about being American, and you don't fucking deserve to be here. You're breaking the law. You are proving our points. Thank you for that follow on Twitch. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Everybody, ASHR Media's YouTube is so close to that 500 mark. So close. We need 7 more people just to jump on board. It's free. You just hit that subscribe button, and that's it. I want to thank you to everybody that has subscribed so far. We appreciate it. It means a lot to us. Trying to find different feeds. The media is showing you one small part of what's going on. They're not showing yesterday where people were breaking concrete structures in the road. They were breaking them up so that they can throw at law enforcement. Not just ones that are standing, ones that are driving down the road, they're throwing them at the windshield. But hey, that's acceptable in Democrats' way of thinking. And the Democrats were sitting there going, it's peaceful. Let me complain about ICE. It's these rioters are wearing masks. Why are they covering their faces? So that they cannot be identified for the crimes they are committing. ICE is covering because, well, Democrats are constantly trying to not put their lives and their family lives in danger. This is what the Democrats are doing. That is what the Democrats are okay with. And here's what I was talking about. Why can't I bring that up? That's not vandalizing. That's getting left. But the Democrats want to tell you, do they not realize the live streaming that is going on from these riots? Oh, it's just a small few people. That's all it takes. That's all it takes is just a small few people. I This. It's peaceful. And yes, you're going to hear me say that a lot. It's peaceful. This was from yesterday. This has been 2 days going on. And you're telling me law enforcement has it under control? If they have it under control, we wouldn't be seeing this. They don't have it under control because they're under orders from Democrat elected officials not to engage. Which makes that law enforcement just as complicit. The Democrat riot playbook, 4 steps to power. And they've run this play before. And we're watching a repeat from Trump's original administration. Step 1, encourage the riots. They don't call for violence directly, but they don't have to. Remember, this is also playing by their rules. Trump went out there on January 6th and said peacefully. Oh, no. What he meant was, well, we've had quotes from Democrats that aren't meant to be peaceful. The message is loud and clear. Maxine Waters, a Democrat from California, from the Brooklyn Center in Minnesota on 2021. We've got to stay on the streets. We've got to get more active. We got to get more confrontational. Another Democrat, I'm not going to try to say their name, Baltimore 2025. This will be a congressional fight, a constitutional fight, a legal fight, and on days like this, a street fight. Even if it stops short of direct incitement, it feeds a fire already burning. And the second way that they attack the administration, criticize the response. Once things spiral out of control, any attempt to restore order becomes the enemy. Police response, militarized overreach. National Guard deployment, authoritarian. Federal charges, racial targeting. Even lawful enforcement is smeared, while the actual chaos is dismissed as mostly peaceful. And then step 4, become the savior. After the fire's set and the country's torn in two, suddenly they have the solution. We hear your pain. Only if you vote for us will this stop. The same voice that inflamed the unrest now play the role of healers. A carefully crafted illusion of control and compassion backed by chaos they let fester. This is the playbook. Every time, it's not spontaneous, it's orchestrated. And anybody saying anything else is either in denial or trying to fester these violent riots. They are out to destroy this country, to tear it down for globalization. I just. And that was something somebody, a friend of mine, posted. So I'll give him credit for it. I'm just. The hell's becoming of this country?
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Now wait. Also, this is daytime. Wait until the sun goes down. That is when it'll really strip. It will really take off. sitting here laughing because talking in chat and watching these cars burn. And it's not funny that they're burning their cars, but these are idiots that believe in climate change. What are they doing? They're polluting big time. This is their mindset. It's if it wasn't sad, it would be comical. Remember the key words: peaceful. All right, things have settled down for now, it looks like. So a lot of feeds are going down. I'm not getting a lot of feeds right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to shut down for right now. And if the feeds start coming back on, I will jump on later and start streaming and talking more about this. But right now, it's uncalled for. Even the protests. What are they protesting? Deporting illegal immigration. They're protesting enforcing laws. They're protesting people living by the same rules. You can try to justify, however you want, allowing illegal immigration to go on. Guess what? They still broke the law. Period. End of story. They continue to break it. They jumped ahead in line. They bypass people that have spent tens of thousands of dollars to get here. And that a lot of them don't have that money to spend, but they spend that trying to get into the country the right way, the legal way. How about all the immigrants that have come here in the years past that spent all that money to get here, only for people just to walk over the border and say, I deserve to be here because I want a better life for my family? Well, you know what? Using that same logic, then we should be able to go rob banks at will because I just want a better life for my family. I don't live with a lot of money, so I should be able to go rob and steal as I please, according to the Democrat logic, as long as I'm trying to make my family better. You can no longer arrest anybody in the United States or send them to prison because you don't want to separate them from their family. We do that all the time. Whatever the charges is, from stealing stuff from a store, to murder, to drunk driving, to embezzling. So many different crimes. You can get taken from your family and put in prison. So don't tell me it is the federal government's fault. It is the citizens, not the citizens, excuse me, the illegal immigrants' fault. They chose to break the law. They chose to put their family in danger. They chose to get separated from their family. This administration offered self-deportation with a free, paid-for return trip and the ability to return back to the United States legally. Democrats don't want that. Democrats won't get behind that. Why? Because it does not fit their agenda of tearing this country down. It does not fit the agenda of backing illegal immigration. It does not fit their agenda of backing criminals. They are currently praising Kilmar Garcia, who's been brought back or on the way back to the United States. They are praising it. And why has he been granted to be brought back? To stand trial for human trafficking. The only reason why he's coming back. And the Democrats applaud. Yes, we got him back. This is your Democrat Party. Look at the things burning in the background. The foreign flags waving on U.S. soil. The obstruction of law enforcement. That is the Democrat Party, people. And remember when they sit there and bitch and complain about the National Guard. Just keep this in the back of your mind. Trump listened to a California Democrat and didn't bring in National Guard one time. And they impeached him for it. I doubt he's going to listen to him again. As I said, if I find new feeds, if things kick up, I'll try to jump back on. But right now, things are simmering down, which is a good thing. And the feeds are slowing down. but the burning continues. Escape from LA continues. I'm just checking through feeds real quick, make sure I'm not missing any feeds. Don't forget to hit the like button, share, and subscribe. We're so close to the 500 mark. So close. All right, let me pop this feed up for like 2 seconds. I just want to show you something. Keep that picture in your mind. Peaceful protest. The car is burned down to nothing. Nothing. As people are waving Mexican flags. I have no problem with foreign countries. I don't have a problem with people being proud of their heritage. That's not being proud of their heritage. That's shitting on the country you live in. All right, this is Jersey Joe. I'm going to take off for now. If things pop off again, I will jump back on. Till then, have a good night.